So I said, well, what do you mean?
Growing up in a Jamaican household.
And he said, well, a woman wouldn't manage it.
As a female.
I didn't quite conform to that.
Welcome back to No Ordinary Life, where ordinary people like Gavin, Julie, Anne, Andy,
push that back,
April, Susanna,
it's really funny,
Spencer, Sarah, and B.
I'm just painting pictures,
talk about their extraordinary lives.
What was expected of me as a woman?
What they expect of you as a woman?
Growing up.
Thinking back to my late teens, early 20s.
What the society
was expected of a woman.
As a girl, what was expected of me?
Growing up in a Jamaican household as a female.
Expects of me as a woman.
You're expected to wake up every morning, cook and clean.
Well.
And then cook and then clean again, and then prepare for the next day, and then go to bed.
Common philo.
To be honest, I don't think growing up much was expected of women.
When I was in my teens,
other than you'd go on and get married,
it was probably expected of me to
have children and you maybe have like a job,
find some sort of work.
That wasn't that all that important.
Or maybe go to college.
It was expected you to stay in your community.
And then probably...
And your family would be everything.
Get married.
To be honest, I don't feel...
And have children. And probably stop work.
Growing up.
During the time that children were growing up.
That I was pushed.
And obviously I'd have to...
To learn. Or to excel.
Be second to my husband. His ideas and his career and everything would be all important. And mine would take second place.
Or to find my passion.
I didn't quite conform to that.
And I'm really passionate about a lot of things.
The situation was that I was very independent.
And I always pushed myself to try and find what I want out of life.
I wanted as soon as possible to buy a house.
Career-wise.
In my early 20s.
Learning-wise.
But I couldn't get a mortgage like that.
And just as a person.
It was explained to me that I'd have to have somebody.
It was never seen as important.
And go as guarantor.
As a girl.
For instance, my father.
I feel.
To be able to actually get a mortgage.
Which is...
They didn't want to know.
Desperately sad.
Women on their own as well, to hold a mortgage.
Stay tuned.
What was expected of me as a woman back then?
The expectancy was always...
Women weren't expected to put themselves first.
I've always been able to mix very easily with people.
Housewife.
From the highest.
Should be like supposed to stand behind the black man.
And I've also mixed with the lowest of the low and married one of them, in fact.
The perfect woman.
And that's kind of the society that I was brought up in.
Then pop up question, what did she wear?
The conversation continues.
As a woman, how was I expected to behave?
If I think on my parent side or my friend parent side,
with the way the world changed,
I think it's quite sexist.
My parents were quite flexible with me.
I think women should
well, that's actually a lie. My parents were really strict and I was a very bad rebel.
Should clean the house.
I had curfews that I broke.
Should, be a good wife.
I used to climb out the window.
Should behave.
Their expectancy of me was to
say and think,
be a young woman and study.
To embarrass out loud.
Get a good job.
Should be like,
get a degree and go to uni and travel the world.
The perfect woman.
And that's not what happened. Life happened.
What's your story?
What was expected of me as a woman back then?
How women expected to behave.
By whom? By my mother?
Women were expected to be...
By public or what?
I guess they were supposed to be quite ladylike.
Well, I think they expected me to go on and become a name in the theatre.
Women weren't expected to put themselves first.
Decorously. How was I expected to behave? Well, I suppose...
That's the household that I was brought up in.
They wanted decorum.
I was brought up to
kind of died down
politeness,
as I got older.
and I was a bit of a tearaway.
To try to be ladylike, even if
I gave as good as I got. If I wanted to do something, I'd do it.
And more independent, and I moved out of my parents' house.
I thoroughly enjoyed life, actually,
I didn't succeed all the time.
but I was good at what I did.
But those morals still stand. I still wake up, I still cook and clean.
I can't see any point in
If there's something coming out of the woman, something negative,
in bad language,
they probably judge you first.
and I've never been one to
Why was that happen?
get involved in bad language.
For example,
Even later in life,
in the rape crime or something like that,
when
society which then pop up question, what did she wear?
I heard an awful lot of it in the license trade.
That happened back then, which is really quite common. Yeah, wrong really.
Don't forget to subscribe.
How does society expect me to behave
I only recently learned that my mum
as a woman and black woman?
was
I don't think that there is a spot
given a place
for us all the time.
in Goldsmiths University in London.
We're just supposed to stand behind the black man.
She didn't take it because she wanted to get married to my dad
How does that feel? Feels a bit crap.
and be a housewife.
You're supposed to be the housewife,
We were never
and your partner does everything and he's the breadwinner.
shown that there was something else outside.
And then that's not really how life works.
It's our small communities.
You kind of break down the barriers as you go on, because that's kind of what I did.
I've always been able to mix very easily with people
The expectancy was always housewife.
from the highest to the lowest.
Women weren't expected to
I've met Princess Diana,
But be independent and get your own money.
Sir Noel Coward, Sir Richard Attenborough,
excel in their careers.
and I've also mixed with the lowest of the low and married one of them, in fact.
I must have applied for about 50 jobs.
So I didn't really comply with what the public wanted me to be.
That's what was enforced into me.
I was
Or even really have a career,
quite capable of doing any of them.
which is crazy
I only had
because
probably 2 or 3 interviews.
you'd have a job, I suppose, but
When I was being interviewed, the gentleman said
we were never pushed
that he didn't feel
to be
that I'd be able to carry the samples around with me.
more than our parents were.
So I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, a woman wouldn't manage it.
I think that's very true of the times. I think a lot of women.
And I said, well, in that case, I said, why on earth am I here for an interview for a job? I said, you knew I was a woman.
Their own lives and careers and happiness.
And he said, oh, he said, I just wanted to see what you were like, because, you know, normally we don't have women apply.
Back of their minds, just
After the second interview, I actually had to wait for them to
do what was expected of them in society and get married and have a family
speak with the managing director.
and look after someone else.
And I had to wait until he came back to the golf club to ask him if it was okay for them to take a woman on.
Next time.
What was food like in my household?
What was food like growing up?
And how has it changed?
I remember aniseed balls. They were my favourite, aniseed balls, gobstoppers.
There were certain foods that you only had at a certain time of the year.
In Brixton Market, it's got to be it's got to be the Harrods of food.
Remembering rationing, you can't forget it.
I do feel that an awful lot of people
Now, you're going to have to hear this one hard, right?
have forgotten how to.
No ordinary life. Thank you for watching.
Is there anything in life I would have done differently? Yes and no. Yes, because I wish I travelled more. But no, because I'm happy with where I'm at now.
Subscribe to keep the conversation going, and don't forget to ring the bell.